Interesting, that rand. I mean, you know, it's all been on the back of the rally in the euro, and you can see that because the euro rand still sitting above 10 rand, so struggling to dip below the 10 rand mark. Your thoughts on the rally that we're seeing right now and whether it's going to be short-lived?
Who can tell, given the volatility in Europe? But you're right. A couple of days ago, it was looking very, very weak indeed, and all of a sudden, this morning, you know, driving in, I heard on it, it was getting stronger, and throughout the course of the day, it's got progressively stronger. So I suppose really, it's just a reflection of the fact that you know, all you need is one or two little comments, positive comments, because I've said before, market participants, generally speaking, are bullish people. To actually
they want to find a reason to you know, to push stocks higher.
Absolutely. Look, I think as far as common sense is concerned, yes, of course the euro is going to remain intact. It isn't going to fall apart in a heap. There are too many issues at stake here. But you do need that continued assurance. You do need the good news coming through. And goodness knows we're still a long way from getting any proper resolution of this thing. So unfortunately, I think the rand, and it'll have good days and bad days. But we're not going to go back to the kind of really strong days that we saw a couple of years ago. You know, below 7, I don't think. No.
Yeah, I mean, it's a long way off from that at this point. Let's glance our eyes over the financial sector at this point, because Nomura CEO Watanabe and the COO Shibata over in Japan, those two key figureheads resigning today over insider trading issues, just casting a negative light on a sector at this point in time, which is really struggling with the reputational damage.
Yeah. And unfortunately, it just doesn't get any better. Look, he was instrumental in picking up the Lehman Brothers operations in Europe and Asia. And, you know, up until now, he's had a pretty good track record. So for this kind of thing to happen, you know, the Japanese, when this kind of thing really blows up big, the CEOs, they tend to do the honorable thing. Thank goodness they don't go and do this harakiri anymore, but at least they step down and metaphorically speaking, fall on the sword.
Yeah, so well, that is certainly what's happened there. Let's look at the local market today. SAB Miller, top performer today, up 3.5%. What's soccer fever during the Euro 2012, that Euro Cup, helping to boost European sales? Yeah,
look, in Poland, they are the biggest player by far. So that 2-3 week spot in as far as the European Championships are concerned obviously helped them quite nicely. But you know, it pales into insignificance given the fact that they've got such a huge geographical footprint all around the world. And in other parts of Europe, and I take Romania for example, where you saw volumes up, what, 15% from a very, very low base, admittedly. But I think what that does, it highlights the very, very clever approach that SAB has adopted in all of these countries. Because one of the reasons that happened, it wasn't just their mainstream Timișoareana, which is a reasonable beer. It's the fact that they've been able to get the economy segment going so nicely in a country that is really bombed out. And has been taking a lot of strain. We saw the riots in January, February, March in Romania. Austerity is as bad as it is in Greece these days, I guess. Well, maybe not.
And they just don't hit the headlines because it's not it's not a key economy.
They've been quietly getting on with the job, you know, taking the medicine. But you know, the SAB is able to tailor the product to an economy that's taking strain, and it's showing up in these results, incredibly good results.
Still, Australia disappoints though. I mean, just looking at that earnings review, Q1 volumes down by 13%. You wonder what the plan is there to get the operations up and running again.
Australia was never going to be a short-term fix. You know, Foster's was a company that you know, while it had decent market share and big operating profit margins, you know, to get it right properly was always going to take time. And of course, they've lost out. I mean, a couple of the brands have been taken away from them in the wake of the takeover of Foster's. So it was always going to be a long-term proposition. So I wouldn't pay too much attention to that. I mean, I think areas like Africa, you know, far more inspiring. You look at Mozambique.
And they're actually about to, just apart from Mozambique, they're about to open up a new production line over in Nigeria, Onitsha.
Yep.
And of course, that is a market that they still need to get a firm foothold in.
Absolutely. I mean, they cover the continent beautifully, particularly in association with Castel, their JV partner. They've got close on 40 of the 54 countries in Africa covered. And as you say, Nigeria, huge huge population. They've really got to make the mark properly in that country before they can say they've really arrived properly on the continent, even though they cover so many countries there. But yeah, I mean, I think it's testament really to the fact that they have this huge geographical footprint that no other global player has.
Well, we've certainly given SAB Miller enough airtime. Let's move on to the other companies today. Hitting the news wires, Lonmin cutting capex quite substantially there and saying that visibility very unclear, and up until 2014 they can't really see much of a recovery at this point.
That's quite right. I think if you look at all of the platinum producers, you've got three problems. You've got generally speaking a low price for platinum, and if, for example, if you were to put up a new platinum mine near the Rustenburg region today, it would cost you about $1,700 an ounce just to refine an ounce of the stuff. You've got huge cost inputs, obviously, and of course, thirdly, you've got this big oversupply situation. The oversupply situation, as per this statement from Lonmin, is largely self-correcting. So by closing shafts, by closing mines, it eventually takes that oversupply situation, that overcapacity out of the equation.
And they all seem to be moving quite quickly now. I mean, there was Amplats who came out and said that they're all cutting back. They're reviewing their operations. We know Anglo American reviewing Amplats, Aquarius, Lonmin. If they're all doing this at quite a rapid pace, you wonder when you might start seeing their price recovering.
Well, as I say, that one element, that oversupply situation, self-correcting, will be taken out of the equation relatively quickly. And we wait with bated breath for tomorrow's Anglo American results, because I think a lot of people will be homing in on Cynthia Carroll, talking about, because she is the chairperson of Anglo Platinum, and it'll be interesting to see what she has, what detailed commentary she has to say about that operation.
And of course, with the new CEO coming on board 1st of September, Investec also coming out with a trading update today. Not much to say there, given that they're saying that earnings will be in line with last year. Anything to take out of that?
Not really. Look, I mean, incredibly well-run, highly entrepreneurial operation, and I think, you know, they reacted very swiftly, you know, to the criticisms that were made about their directors, you know, taking out too much, and I mean, I think they neutralised that very, very quickly indeed.
Well, certainly there was quite a bold statement on one of the magazines here in South Africa saying the lost decade for Investec.
Yeah, look, this is a company that does need to have vibrant markets. Some people are a bit more unkind about this, say it's a bull market stock. Look, as I say, I think it's a wonderfully run operation, but it does need to have somewhat more vibrant underlying economies and markets for them to really perform.
Something that management said they have recognised. Thank you so much for joining us today. Chris Gilmour, investment analyst at Absa Capital.